Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is finishing up Captain Jack's at night. By this point, this might be a little bit of pipeline, but I don't think so. I think this is 701. It's so hard to remember at this point, but I wanted to bring you this as a voiceover because it was still a pretty epic ride. And it kind of shows you all what it looks like at night, which is pretty darn scary, really, in some spots. I did miss recording the tight, snowy sections, which at this point I don't even think you have to worry about. On 701, I think that's all done, but you can see some snow there. And, you know, it's a very interesting trail at night. And later on, as we're coming down, it becomes foggy. Yeah, right here, this snow, it looks fluffy, so you can kind of think you can kind of roll through it, but you can't. As soon as you hit it, it was a slush. The rear end was just squirming all around. It was just no go as far as touching the snow. That's why I thought I could go in it, and sometimes if you're fresh making the tracks, it's actually not that bad, but that's if it's a certain condition. This was slush. Slush, you're just sliding around. It was no good. So, you know, that kind of lasted through 701 a little ways, and this is the easier part that wasn't so bad. I'm pretty sure this is 701, unless this is the very end of Pipeline. I don't remember because I didn't have the camera on for the really bad spots that were on 701. So this for sure is 701, and we're going down, and it's tight, it has rocks, it has wet roots. Of course, we all know what roots are like in the wet. They are no fun. So you're looking out for roots, you're looking for rocks. I'm going, I guess, kind of slow because I'm more cautious of a person. It's a risk versus reward, you know, and so you ride at your own pace. I do think I was ahead at that point, and then we kind of changed it up. The faster guys wanted to go faster. I don't see going that fast in the dark worthwhile. It's not a race. We're not getting a trophy. Personally, again, it goes back to that whole risk versus reward thing, and it's just not. I'm not getting a reward for it. I'm not earning a trophy. So, you know, I go at my own pace. I don't get it. This is where we swapped up, and they all went ahead, Dan and Brian. I have a few guys behind me, so, you know, I guess I'm mid-pack here. But they get ahead really quick. I don't know how they can ride so fast in these conditions. I know the trail pretty well, and no thank you. It's just, again, I don't feel like I'm getting a reward for going real fast. There's no benefit in it. I mean, I guess one could say, well, it's fun to go really fast. Well, yes, that's true, but again, do you want to get hurt? Do you want to be the guy that gets hurt at night? Do you want to be the guy that it's 2 in the morning and they're having to get search and rescue, this and that, to drag you out because you can't get out? No, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to be that guy. So again, the risk versus reward thing. But it is fun riding at night, and I highly recommend you go out and check it out and do it. It is a lot of fun, and especially if you're with a great group of people, guys, gals, and, you know, we're all there for each other. It's just, you know, you got to know when to let people go ahead of you, and just be mindful of who's behind you, and, you know, you got to wait for people, and we do. We regroup quite a bit, especially when it got foggy. You want to make sure you don't have to go back in certain conditions. At this point, I let Mike in front of me, and that's Dan up there with the green helmet. And Mike's a pretty good rider, but I would say he was slowing down quite a bit as it got foggier, and we both were like, we can't see. It was just ridiculous. You can't see the sheer drop off to the sides, to the left, but here we are going pretty good clip. I would say, you know, we were flowing at a decent rate considering the conditions. It was a good time though. I mean, he has to play with his light, I believe, right here, and yeah, you know, it was one of those things like the headlight. Is the headlight helping you, or is it being a hindrance? As it's getting foggier and foggier. Is the helmet light helping you? Do you need to have it lower or brighter? Which way? It's one of those, you know, there was no perfect solution, and we just had to deal with the fog and smoke. We have the Canadian fires up in Canada was bringing smoke down here to the Pikes Peak region, and it is very hard to see. So this was a combination of fog because of the rain and smoke, and it just made it horrible as we got lower and lower. As you saw, starting out, it was fine. The pipeline, going up pipeline was fine, but coming down is when we started seeing all this fog, smoke, whatever it was, and it became really difficult, to a point where Mike and I stopped a few times and we're just like, we cannot see. You know, I don't know how Dan and Brian were both hauling ass. More power to them. I don't get it. Again, I wasn't going to try to go at some race pace. There was no benefit in doing that. And if you don't end up coming down, then somebody's going to have to come up and get you, you know, if you have an accident. So I don't know. That's just my opinion of that. I think the going slower in these conditions is much wiser. But it is fun riding at night. It's quiet out there. There's no mountain bikers. There's no hikers. And if there were hikers or mountain bikers, they're going to see your headlights. They're going to see lights, and they're going to stop. If there was another rider, we would see their lights, and we would all probably come to a crawl trying to figure out what was what, you know, what is going on, who else is crazy enough to be out here. And yeah, you know, that's just how it is when it's nighttime. It's just really nice. I don't know how stressed it is. A different environment at night. Same trail, but just different. You know, you don't see a lot of the exposure, so that's not really in your mind, which I guess can be a benefit. It also can be a hindrance too, because I suppose if you go off the trail in a spot, that's where I think the helmet light is a safety item to have either way, versus having a brighter light attached to your bike. Because let's say I went off here, hopefully the guy that's behind me is going to see some light down the hill and be like, what is that? Come to a stop and realize I had gone over the edge, right? Whereas if I didn't have a headlight, the bike cuts off, there's no light down there, he's going to continue. They're going to be like, well, when did you last see? And then it becomes this whole search and rescue, and then they're going to have to figure out, okay, how far did we go up? When did you last see him? This and that, right? So if you're going to do these night rides, definitely have a helmet light. I strongly stress that, not just for yourself, but for everyone involved, because I do think if I were to go down, at least there's a possibility there's a light kind of shining off in the bushes down below that maybe it wouldn't compute right away, but if somebody came back to look for you, it would be like, oh, there's a light right there. Okay, got to stop and check that out, right? Why is there a light off the trail? So it's a safety thing. You know, some guys, they'll have their headlight and then they'll mount an extra LED on their bars or something, one of the super bright LED lights right to the battery, which is cool and all. And I'm not saying you can't do that also, but again, you should have a helmet light attached to your body in some way, whether it's your helmet, chest, whatever. Just because, you know, we need to find you should something go wrong. So I'm looking at actually selling helmet lights here at A&M Moto Toys. I contacted a company that's based out of Colorado, Phoenix, something like that. And I'm going to hopefully be able to sell their product. It would be pretty cool. I think have a little display. I mean, we're not going to have a ton of lights, but you know, ones I find that would be useful for riders to be able to use some Velcro or bionic Velcro to stick to their helmet, and you know, make for a good helmet light. And supporting a Colorado company that's in Colorado, their headquarters is in Longmont, and yeah, it, you know, be nice to support somebody that's designing them in Colorado. I'm sure they're still made overseas, but at least that way, if there's any issues or concerns, the company's right here in our backyard to contact and complain to or whatever, you know, to get the issue fixed should you have an issue even. And you know, they're going to use better components too. They're a little bit more pricier. They're not going to be the $40, $50 light. They're going to be, you know, the $80, $100. They even have a helmet light that is, or not a helmet light, a head lamp that is $200, I believe, or $220. That looks like super bright, and it will last all night, like pretty much on high. It's probably like made for caving and stuff, I would imagine, where you want to make sure it has like the external batteries, which you could just Velcro on the back of your helmet. And what a lot of us are doing is we're taking an older helmet and we're mounting the light to. Like, the helmet I'm using is actually a really good helmet. It's one of my Climb F5 carbon helmets, and I have newer ones, so I'm just mounting stuff to it. I leave the light on it, charge it up on the helmet, and there I go. It's good to go for the next nighttime ride, and I don't have to do anything. I have the clear goggles already on that helmet. I don't have to, you know, use the same goggles. So all set up. A lot of us have older gear, and picking out some older gear to use for the night is the best way to go. So you can just keep everything together, and that way I'm going nighttime, grab that specific helmet, and I'm ready. I'm ready to go. It's that easy. As you see, it's getting a lot foggier now, or smokier, whatever you want to call it. It was a mix. So this smog fog, smog fog, it was hard to see, as you can see. What you see here is probably better than I could actually see in real life, with like my eyes being colder, my eyes starting to water and what have you. And yeah, here we are. We're kind of in the final stretch, I do believe, at this point. Yeah, we're in the final stretch here, and wow, it was a crazy ride. I highly recommend these night rides. I just don't really recommend them when they're foggy or smoky out like this, because see, I'm playing with the light. Do I need it dim? Do I need it off? Do I need it this or that? I can't see. I'm just going from memory, because this is the home stretch. I'm like totally going from memory now, just to come down the last part of 670, or no, 665 to the parking lot, to the trailhead. See, I kind of look off. I'm like, you know, we should almost be there, but you know, it took a little longer than I thought because it's going a lot slower than normal. And here we are, the last little bit going into what you would know as the trailhead. It's hard to tell that though from this, man. We could barely see. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and got to, you know, share it with me as I came down in some crazy conditions. Have a good one. Stay well, stay safe, my friends. Bye.